keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same 1%? Trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and for the millions watching at home, DCK Productions proudly brings to you the greatest podcast in the world! The greatest podcast in the world? Suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. I appreciate it if you both suck it. Suck it!
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
Welcome, everybody, to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome. Derek, how the fuck is everybody this evening? We are a Tuesday, the 14th of July. Luckily, nothing too shitty has happened today, so I can talk about some happy stuff today, thank God. But I got a great guest ahead of you guys today, and then after the fact, we're gonna go ahead and get a little nerdy because I'm watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is now on Hulu and ABC, and I'm getting a little fucking pissed off, and I need to talk about it. So we'll talk about that later, and then also that new movie on Hulu, Palm Springs. With Andy Samberg. I watched that, and that was a great freaking flick. We'll talk about that a little bit too. And then also we'll talk about the tragic death of former Mythbuster Grant Imahara. So that's one tragic thing, but we'll talk about other fun stuff too. But before all that, I do have a fantastic guest for you tonight. He is a real estate mogul, an entertainer, a philanthropist. Guy does a lot of great stuff for the American Cancer Society. He is just a fantastic gentleman all overall, and I'm really, really excited to talk to him tonight. Throughout history, he's always had a triumph the passion for music, which become his focus and his joy. This guy is just an overall great guy, and I cannot wait to talk to him. So without further ado, please welcome tonight to the show, Soho Johnny. Hey, buddy, how are you?
How are you, Derek?
You know what? I am fantastic. It is Tuesday, and I got you on the line, so it's got to be a good day.
Happy Tuesday. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. So, my friend, I got the invitation about a month ago, for you and all the other guests that I have on for this week, and I've done a lot of research on everybody. Like Howard last night has an amazing story, and so do you. And I cannot wait to dive right into some of this stuff. So let's go ahead and just let's get right into it. So you kind of started your whole career as a real estate mogul in New York. But you also kind of were hanging around, music and everything else like that. You were kind of right in the scene of kind of like two different worlds in the 70s. So talk about, what your path was to get where you were.
Well, that's a great question, and I get that a lot. It's kind of like, where the origins and how I just came to where I was. And I have to say, a lot of it has been organic, okay? It wasn't like I had this foresight to have anything to do with entertainment. But I was born in the Big Apple in Manhattan, in a complex called Stuyvesant Town. It's a big complex. It was built by Metropolitan Life, probably in the 50s, off of 14th Street. And my parents, I lived there when I was a child. And at some particular point, probably when I was in grammar school, they moved over to the Boogie Down Bronx. And from the Bronx, I went to school there, and I was always kind of like, I was a nervous kid, you know, this is kind of funny, you know, and as I, you know, do interviews and everything, I think back and I say, you know, gosh, I used to stutter as a kid, you know, it was so funny. And I remember being that nervous child, and the last thing I would do was get in front of an audience or do anything like that of that ilk. But when I was in grammar school, and then so went to high school, grammar school, you know, in the boogie down Bronx, I mean, we're talking in the 70s. I mean, it was a little different then than it was now. You know, it was not going to say it was dangerous, but it was risque. I mean, there was a lot of gangs on the streets, walking the streets, and
Yeah.
you know, there was a lot going on. And my parents, you know, they had an apartment, and eventually they bought a house, their first house, and there was a garage in the backyard. And somehow, you know, we just kind of gravitated towards all my friends and other friends would just come to this garage after school. And I had the, you know, I had rock, which is now classic rock, playing at the time, and black lights and strobe lights. And, you know, I just started loving entertaining and having my friends around. And it was just really basically pure instinct to do that and to party. And, you know, luckily, none of us really got into trouble. Stayed out of trouble. And I think all the parents around us were happy that they knew where we were. They were happy we were off the streets, at least in my parents' garage in the back there and behind closed doors. So that's kind of really how it started. Soho Johnny is, I was called Soho Johnny over the years because I go back with my family 4 generations in Soho in Manhattan. Going back, I mean, you know, I've just lost my mom to COVID. Okay, not that I want to get into a negative. God bless. I was blessed to have her for 93 years. And,
Sorry to hear that.
You know, but you know, when you go that, you look at old pictures and whatnot, and I see pictures of, you know, both my father's side, my mother's side, my father's side, and you know, uncles and grandparents and everything just coming up back in the day. And my grandfather started, I guess, in Soho, and you know, we still have a presence there to this day as well. But back then, my family had a trucking business, and you know, we got to know everybody, and you know, the beauty of being brought up in cities like that, to me, you know, besides getting a formal education, okay, back and try and get education and do what you can, is also you get like a dual education because all the diversity of the population, just from people from all walks of life and ethnicities and everything, just working together and being brought up. To me, I thought that was fortunate because just seeing, you know, diversity come together and being able to achieve. And I think that was very important. I think, you know, big melting pot, so to speak. So, you know, my love of entertainment probably grew there. And I started doing some reunions and more parties, and it kind of grew bigger. And I got this reputation of being like, you know, you don't want to miss Soho Johnny's parties, right? Okay. And, you know, but I was having a ball, you know, as they say, it was organic. And I did reunions, and I started taking the notch up over time. Fast forward, I mean, I had a real estate career, yes. I wouldn't call myself a real estate mogul, but that's, you know, after my family trucking, and we had a real estate business, and we had some properties in the family, and then we expanded upon it, and brokerages, and, you know, dealt with the public and supplying locations, mostly residential, mostly commercial, pop-ups or entertainment. Or retail, and you know, right now that's all upside down on what's going on in the world. I know that, but back then it was very prolific at the time, and I did that for years. But I just kept in the back of my mind, and I just kept on doing these parties, and it just kept growing and growing. So fast forward again, you know, I lost my dad to cancer a little bit over 25 years ago, and you know, other members of my family, and I knew how prevalent it is affecting people from all over are touched by cancer in some manner, shape, or form. The statistics are staggering. You know, I chose the American Cancer Society, and I started doing shows. And I took a notch up. I got the actual real performers performing on the shows, and I had raised money for the American Cancer Society. So basically, I guess what my secret sauce is, and it's really not about me, okay, Derek. You know, I know though I love everything that I do, I feel blessed in that I'm able to do it. But and I feel blessed in the fact that so many people I've met in my circles around me have come to support me in doing something. But I kind of joined my own love and passion of music, which is a big part of me. My mom was, I mean, she always, I mean, back in those days, you know, it was hard, especially to climb the ranks, okay, especially from, you know, an old Italian family, you know, for her to go out. But she was into like off-Broadway dancing and all these other things. When I was only a kid, and I found out even just recently a little bit more about her life that she had passed on. So I kind of say that I got my love of music and entertainment from her. And my dad was a businessman, and he had the ability, you know, he came from the Depression, and, you know, both sides of my family, they had no money. You know, they were, you know, poor immigrants if you trace back. But, you know, my mom, you know, my father's side, you know, he was served honorably in the war, and he, you know, he came back, and you just, when you live through all that and you have nothing, lost his mom, which would have been my grandmother when he was 5 years old, raised by his older sister, and his dad when he was 15. So they actually had this little business with the brothers, and they kept it going, which was just making little shekels to put onto the table. Okay. And I guess you would call it recycling, but which is a buzzword now, but back then it was just putting a cart with cardboard or anything on it, or selling paper to tissue people, you know, the companies that make tissue products. So you would save the trees. And they just kind of built that business up. So, but one thing about my dad, because of his sense of humility and humanity, again, I was so blessed, because I garner what I've gotten from him is humility and humanity. I mean, because there's nobody, and I'm not saying it because this is my dad, you know, nobody would really say an unkind word about him, because it doesn't matter who you were, what you had, what you look like. You know, when you walked away from just meeting my dad, you know, walked away with a smile, and, you know, he was genuine and treated everybody with respect. It doesn't matter who you were. I mean, he had people that would work for him that would just go through a mountain to try to help him because they loved him, you know, more like a dad. So, you know, I kind of combined these elements of my dad with cancer, and it just kept on morphing and growing from there, you know. And so I'm having a great time. I have all these people that have come to support me, and the artists, when I do shows, you know, I kind of, you know, I treat the artists like family too. You know, I treat them almost as if, like, you know, you're not just here to do a job. You're here, you're family. We're all here to entertain. And it's, you know, it's really special to be able to put smiles on people's faces and just take them maybe in a little time warp with music, because that's what music does. It's a time warp for many of us. You know, I can listen to a music, you can listen to a music, or the audience, how many of the audience can listen to a song that goes back in their history sometime, and all of a sudden, just for that moment, you're back there with your first crush, or you're back there with your first disappointment, or your first car, right? That's the beauty of music. Isn't that wonderful? It
really is. What was it? It was about 2 weeks ago. I was at the doctor's office, and I was doing some physical therapy, and I go to the back, and I'm getting ready to get on the bicycle machine, you know, because I have a shoulder injury. And I'm sitting there, I'm pedaling along on the bike machine, the hand bike machine, and all of a sudden Metallica Unforgiven comes on the radio. And I'm not paying attention to the radio at all until Metallica comes on the radio. I'm like, oh, wow, this physical therapist is an awesome guy. He's listening to a rock station. And then, you know, I'm picturing myself back in the 90s watching the making of the Black Album, and, you know, picturing the stuff that they did, and they were using, you know, shotguns and stuff like that to get extra sounds. I remember watching that video. But then at the end of that song, they said 97 classic rock. I'm like, when the fuck did Metallica become classic rock? And it's like, I was 10 years old when that album came out, and now it's like, oh my God, that was 30 years ago.
Isn't that funny?
It's so, like, you were sitting there talking about, you know, 70s being classic rock. It's the 90s is now classic rock, and that's a scary, scary thought. So yeah, it really does, you know, bring back that piece of who you are. I mean, music is like a huge piece of who I am, and I know it's a lot of, you know, who people are as well. And, you know, that's like I was telling you earlier, me doing this summer concert series is the way to help bring that back, because we can't go to concerts right now. And there's a lot of unsigned local bands in the DC, you know, tri-state area that can't do anything, and they're trying to make a name for themselves. You know what? So I'm going to give them a platform. Same kind of stuff that you've done. That's what I'm trying to do as well. And it feels good. It really does. I mean, just the messages that I've gotten over the last few days. So I'm just helping. I've just started this process because this is just a thing that I just had come up in the last couple of weeks, but you've been doing it for 30 years, 40 years, you know? So, I mean, tell me, you know, why you went the direction that you went, as far as, like, you know, booking the bands and doing all this other stuff that you started to do. Why that road versus becoming a mega mogul and just doing whatever it took to make money?
Great question. I mean, music is a companion and to me, it's a companion to me throughout my entire life. Okay. And, you know, it just kind of uplifts me and it just kind of brings me down. And sometimes, you know, music makes you feel bad, but it's a feel bad that you need to feel bad. Music sometimes is an outlet for me. So if I'm mourning something or something's upsetting for me, even if it's a sad song, you know, you got to, it's important for people to remember. And that's so, you know, pertinent to what the world is going on, what's going on with this pandemic and how it's affecting everybody so adversely or whatever you want to call it. You know, you need to be able to vent your feelings. Okay. One thing about staying home, I know I get back to your question 1 minute. One thing about staying home, I say social distancing is not social isolation. It's actually the opposite. Correct. Now is the time, like, and I give you all the credit, just like what you're doing on having the show. I thank you for having it because it's a light there for everybody to look to. What you're doing with the bands, I think it's fantastic, and you're giving them a platform. But you know, it's important to make, you know, your days count, even if you're in lockdown, you're staying home, or you're being careful. But stay in contact with everybody. Socially, you may not be physically close to a lot of people because you got to protect yourself, but pick up the phone, call people that you haven't spoken to in a while, your family and friends and everything. Just reach out and always put a smile on someone's face. Put a smile on someone's face. So I think, you know, what stimulated me, I think it's just, you know, learning about life. And, you know, it's not meant to be paradise here on this world, you know, and I'm not getting into religious. We all have our beliefs, but I think, you know, and it's a sense of humanity. I mean, you know, just to appreciate. I mean, one of my sayings, every day is a blessing and a gift. And that kind of just resonated in me, and just with the music and the love and so much. I mean, what fills my sails, the wind in my sails, is just the love that I get from everybody and doing something and having a good time, and everybody, and then the artists, and just getting in the performance, the audience, and that type of positive energy and putting it all together. And a lot of it is like, you know, virtual now. Okay. It doesn't have to be all in person. Of course, we know that slowed down because of the lockdowns, but, and I think that's so important. So entertainment is still will always be an important key into making our lives better. Okay. I mean, he who sings prays twice, you could say, or, you know, laughter you can extend your life by laughing every day. Just even if you laugh at yourself, you know, it's a form of entertainment. So I think it kind of grew with me, is just because it just felt so good. And I just wanted more. I wanted more. And I felt good. I knew I was doing something good. And again, I'm not trying to take credit for all this. Okay. I'm just saying, again, it kind of, I call myself the accidental tourist in all this thing, because it just kind of happened over time, you know, and it's great. So I've done certain shows, and some small shows, some big shows. And, you know, one of the, you know, after classic disco, one of the ones that I've done last year that, you know, I've been talking about recently, and I would have done a sequel to it this year, is actually, I believe it, classic disco. Okay. Classic disco show, mostly classic disco. So I ended up doing a festival for the American Cancer Society, and it was in Stamford, Connecticut. And the daytime portion was in a gigantic circus type outdoor tent. Okay. And then the evening was in the grand ballroom. So altogether, I don't know how many hours. It probably started, I forget, maybe 1 o'clock, and you went to maybe it was maybe a 12-hour event. And in between the day and the evening, there was VIP meet and greets and everything. And it was a great time. I was so fortunate and blessed that everything went off without a hitch. I mean, listen, a lot goes into this. All right, doing these things, as you probably know, I'm sure you know, and many people know. And you know, the artist, one of the measures of a good artist, okay, many people have talent and they know how to sing, and they know this, whatever, and they know the right people. But you know, one thing that's important to consider, especially when they go on their tours, all right, is that what makes one of the degrees of professionality that elevates them, in my eyes, is that, yeah, this is your A day. You're feeling great, but guess what? No matter what, you got to be on tour. You got to be in front of like thousands of people the next day. You got to put your A game on again. It doesn't matter if you had a fight with your spouse, or if you woke up and you pulled your back, right? You got to go out there, and that's the measure of a true performer. So, you know, for me, I think, you know, it takes me out of my own life, okay, to do this, you know, and you know, they say the greatest therapy for things that you worry about, you know, and I put myself in this category too, is that when you do things, when you're reaching out to others, you take yourself out of your own body, and that's how it's like therapy for yourself. So you're doing something good, you're relating. And so that kid that was stuttering, that I described myself, because you still have a little bit of that child in us. We always have a little bit of how we were growing up. That never leaves you completely because we were kids and we absorbed that. It just turned into positive energy. And that's the key, is to turn the energy, whatever's going on in your life. And I'm not making light of, people that are suffering, and a lot of, even my own personal loss with my mom recently, of course I'm mourning and everything. But I feel like for me, I want to just make a little bit of a difference here and do something. So I just recently started a foundation called Let Me Help, Inc. And I'm planning, God willing, that we could do at a show in the city 2 days before Thanksgiving, purposely around that time, so it's a time of thanks. Hopefully we can have it in person. It's not going to be all virtual. Part of it will be virtual. Hopefully it's going to work. And I can't, it's not official yet because we're still working out the paperwork here, but it's definitely going to be 2 different objectives for raising money. One cancer and the other one COVID related, of course, COVID for now. And cancer in my dad's name and everyone else's name is affected, and COVID for everyone that's affected, including my own mom. Okay. So, if there's anything I could do in their memory of somebody that I love, people that I love, is to outreach and help others, then I'm blessed to have the ability to do that. So hopefully that's going to be where I'm going to be able to pull it off in November.
Well, if you pull it off, if you need a comedian, this guy right here is always willing to do it.
100%.
Cancer benefit, because I'm a stand-up comedian as well, and I haven't performed on stage since February. I have a show in 11 days, and it's like, oh crap. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to be able to do this? So I'm kind of nervous about it. But there's 2 things in there that you said that really kind of hit home for me. So one of the things that you said was, the mark of a true entertainer is that they can go up on stage and, hit that thing every night. And they're not doing it for themselves so much that they're doing it for the people. But at the same time, it's an escape from who they are in order to make sure that they're, yes. So that is actually one of the things that I've done for a very long time. So prior to becoming a stand-up comedian, for a very, very long time, for 15 years, I was actually a professional wrestler as well. And I did that every night, sometimes 3-4 nights a week, 15 years as an escape from who I am, because I get to walk into that ring and be somebody that Derek was not, because Derek is sitting in front of you as a bipolar, high anxiety, depressed guy that's tried to commit suicide twice. But the moment that I walked into that ring, I got to be somebody else. And all the things that I wasn't, I got to be for that 15, 20, 30 minutes. And I got to see people's smiles. I got to see people hate me. I got to see all these different reactions. Whatever I said, they fed off of. And it made me feel really good knowing that I was able to be a part of who they are for that time I was out there. And then the moment I went back back to the dressing room, Derek had to come back to real life. And I always missed it. Every time I wasn't on stage, every time I wasn't doing something like that, I missed it. And that's like the mark of a true entertainer. Because also another mark of it is like an entertainer versus like just a straight up musician. When you go up on stage, you can play an instrument all day long and have a fantastic voice. But there's a difference between leading a band and being a front man or a front woman than just being the lead singer of a band or being the lead guitarist of a band. And I think you hit all those points really, really well, because that is what definitely makes a difference, is how can you interact with that crowd to make them go home smiling? Not, oh, I'm so glad I got to hear my favorite song tonight, or versus, oh my God, did you see that stage show? And that's the difference.
It's definitely, it's a form of energy and connectivity that you have, in positive energy exchange with the audience and making people feel good. Even if it's a short little escape for that night or that period of time for the show, they're smiling, they're happy, and you made them feel good. And you took them out of their humdrum of their lives or whatever's going on. And that positive, that exchange of energy, I think it's all positive. It's a sense of humanity, okay? And it's that essence, okay, that's good for you. It's good for me. I'm still a stuttering kid as a child. But when I get up there and I do that, it's not about me. It's not even looking for credit, but it's just about the joy of unity, if you want to put it that way. It's the joy of coming together and just sharing an experience, a positive experience to make everybody feel good and to make lives just a little bit better, especially today. So important.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things like I said, I just absolutely love it. You know, the smile on people's faces when I tell a joke, or when I'm on here and people start asking, you know, questions through the comment thread, or I post up a little snippet of the video up on Instagram and people just like the crap out of it. You know, the reactions that I'm getting now are completely different from what I'm used to. You know, I could tell you to hate me or I could tell you to love me, you know, depending on what my character was, you know, mental state was that day. But, you know, now it's like I'm out to just make everybody laugh and have fun and just whatever. And if it wasn't for this podcast over the last 6 months, 5 months, I don't know what I would be doing, because I'd probably be going stir crazy because I need to get out on stage. I need to do something. I need to perform. And I've used this, you know, as an outlet, you know, and it's a definite plus, I can tell you that much. So I'm sure that the things that you've done for other people, they can only imagine, you know, you can't even imagine what, you know, what good they've done inside their own head. So what have you been doing throughout this whole COVID thing, you know, to help as many people as you can, as far as like the same things that you were doing before, but differently?
Well, I'm preparing for this show, for this major fundraiser and everything that it comes I mean, I'll tell you about like the last show last year that I did for American Cancer Society. Okay, I'll give you an idea of what I did then, because I think I was just leading off on there. You know, because it just takes time to put everything into place. You know, you got to get the sponsor. You have the sponsors. You know, of course, it's not. This is not like a profit motivation for me. Okay, I just want to just make an experiential thing, do something good, and just have that joy, that exchange that we just talked about, and then everybody. Yeah. You know, I'm not that stuttering kid. I just take myself out of myself, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm in front of so many people, and it's just to feel good. But you know, I think it's just planning for the show. As I said, my new foundation, Let Me Help, Inc. We're finalizing that, and you know, I've entitled it "The Mandate for Humanity." Okay, because there's I mean, even before COVID came along, you know, the world was kind of going a little topsy-turvy here. You know, so, you know, I think one of my missions, if you want, not my mission, I just think it's humanity, just a common sense thing. It's just to bring people back together, bring them together. And because there's so much good out there in the essence of humanity, in our hearts. There's so much good that's come out, and it's all about compromise. The only thing that constant in the universe that never changes is the fact that there is diversity. Mm-hmm. And when diversity comes together, it can create beauty. All we have to do is get in the sandbox and, you know, make the sandcastle. You know, my buddy Scott Page, who I think you're having tomorrow, another philanthropist, great guy, producer, so talented. He was in the original Pink Floyd, my good buddy. You know, he tells me, he says, John, if the one from other people I know, you could take a bunch of lemons and make lemonade out of it, you know, and I'm so proud. I'm so, you know, gratified that he would even say that about me. But I think he's probably right, because that's kind of my approach. You know, you take whatever you can and you try to make it a little bit better. You try to make it an ambrosia that looks good, or because the whole world and everything that's going on, is one big canvas. It's just one painting canvas. Yeah. And we all have a brush and have a stroke, and making it look beautiful together at the end of the day is what we really need to realize. And if we could all wake up, if everyone listening to our voice right now, Derek, could just try and just say, you know what, no matter what's going on in your life. And again, I'm not making light, because I know people out there are really going through trying times. I know losing a loved one, I just lost my mom. But if you could just say, remember to the point that there's usually always somebody worse off than you. There's somebody worse off that's suffering, that could be dealing with some life-changing or very, you know, facing their mortality or whatever. Always remember that every day is a blessing and a gift. And if you could just have that in your mind when you wake up, and how you relate to other people, just one day, if we could all do that, and just, I think this is what a beautiful day that would be. Okay, because it's the truth. To me, it's self-evident. You know, every day, you know, I can't take anything for granted, especially now. If there's one thing that's changed with the consciousness of society, with a pandemic, because I never expected that something like this could happen. Most people, I say most of the majority of us, never would expect the far-reaching implications of something. I didn't know what a pandemic was. I knew what an epidemic was because I heard that. Not a pandemic, that it could change the whole world. But at the end of the day, and never mind the economic implications and just putting people out of business, you know, maybe not intentionally, but just to try the commonwealth, for the common welfare of people's safety and health. But, you know, at the end of the day, the true enemy here is fear. Fear, like anything else we face in life, is the true enemy. We need to deal with the facts. We need to be rational. There's some of the greatest minds in the world working on a vaccine or a cure. Okay, and it's up to the individual how you're going to handle it, how you protect your loved ones. But you know, this is a challenge like anything else, and this is a time where people have to rise up. Your show, what you're doing, and I love what you shared with me earlier, and even a platform to all these bands there, that a lot of these artists, including me, I get calls all the time. They're idle, you know. They're used to making a living or making money, whatever. You know, I'm not necessarily all the A-listers, but there's so many talented people. Okay, you know, I have you know, some A-listers that are talking about coming on the show, but like even they're concerned. You know, they're concerned of, you know, maybe traveling, whatever at that particular time. They'll do something virtual, but I think it's just a mix. It's just a mix of all that being put together. But remember, we have to deal with the facts, because fear will always be the enemy. I mean, if there's anything about life that defines life, I always say, death is what defines our life. It's our mortality, and that's what makes it special. Because if we all lived forever, we would take it for granted. It's human nature. It doesn't. So we have to make it work. We have to respect. We have to, the people that we love, you know, and that we have people that support us. You know, we have to value every single relationship. And here's another thing. No matter who you are a role model to somebody else. I say that all the time. You don't even have to have much, but we all make imprints on someone else. Okay. Mm-hmm. And in entertainment, especially when you have an audience or a show, or if I'm on stage or anybody, and some of these A-listers, they all kind of, you know, to me, it's like, you know, we talked about Stan Lee, you know, would we compare him to Walt Disney, right? Remember the saying for Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Right? Same thing. If you have a platform where you're affecting all these other people, you kind of have a responsibility, in my opinion, to shed the light. And so again, I want to thank you for what you're doing on your show, because that's exactly what you're doing as well.
Well, you know, I that means a lot coming from you, and I appreciate that. You know, and reading your story and the things that you've done, I couldn't help but draw some similar parallels to another real estate New York guy that got into the entertainment business, but went a completely different road, and now is running the country. You know, but the things that you have done are just selfless, you know, and you are a man that needs to be admired. And I am in awe of who you are. And the more I hear from you talk, and the more I read and stuff like that, I was like, wow, this guy is just, you know, just an overall humanitarian. You know, forget the entertainment part, forget the philanthropist part, just a humanitarian. And that is just that is an awesome thing to, you know, have.
Right. I thank you for saying that. And, you know, listen, it's affecting me too. I'm not a mogul. Okay. Those are kind words that many people say about me. You know, I'm affected by all this too. I'm not a billionaire or anything like that. Okay. But, you know, I am passionate about what I do, and what I feel is important. And if I could just stimulate other people to elevate them to a certain regard, and to other people, it's like a domino effect, like it's a ripple in an ocean. And if everybody creates a ripple, then it creates one big tidal wave of goodwill. That's kind of like, if we all do, if I say at my fundraiser, it says if we don't do nothing, then nothing gets done, right? So somebody have to, even if it's a little bit, everyone's just got to chip in a little bit. You know, I mean, like, I had well, I'll talk about my last show. I mean, I think I mentioned last year what I did with Classic Disco. So I had those of you that many people that remember Denny Terrio. I was privileged to have him co-host it. He was he had a show called Dance Fever back, I think, in the 70s, and he taught John Travolta how to dance, and he co-hosted it with me. Oh, wow. Okay, wow. It was great, and I had such a great lineup and so many nice people and artists that came. Tavares, many people know Tavares. Planet Patrol, Heat Wave, Sharon Brown, Fonda Ray, Double Exposure, Instant Funk, Arnell Carmichael, Jack and Jill, Harold Melvin's Blue Notes. I don't want to miss Constantine Morales. Well, he's rock of age. He's not really a disco guy, but he's a friend. He's got a fantastic voice. And Star Hansen, he was a more of a freestyle artist. He came to support. And I had Monty Rock III. I call him. I love him. I call him my Mr. Magnificent. And he's up there, but he was the DJ at Saturday Night Fever. And people remember him for Discotheques and the Sexalettes. Oh, my chiffon is wet, my wig is wet. And so that was like, an all-day festival show, and we had such a great time. We raised money, and so much love came out of that, and so many, and so much goodwill. So at the end of the day, I think it's just like giving that little bit of goodwill. No, but not everybody's going to do a show, okay? But, we all are putting on a show ourselves in our daily lives, okay? Getting up in the morning, going to work, providing for your family, whatever the case may be, being a good husband, being a good wife, being a good friend, or just being a good soul, okay? And again, I don't get into religion. Even the people that don't believe that, I even say, even if you're an atheist, what I'm talking about is common sense, humanity precepts, okay? That's all it is, okay? And it just makes sense. I mean, in this time more than anything, I'm planning now, I guess, as we were talking about for November, I mean, there's a lot of things that are just kind of in the works now. I have a reality show in the works myself, interesting things going on. Actually got a comic book. Speak of the devil, we're talking about Marvel, a Soho Johnny comic book. It kind of ended up going that way. And I'm going to be recording some of my own songs, and I've got a couple of tribute songs that I'm just about to release very, very soon.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I have so many great people around me. I mean, these are the artists and musicians that I heard when we were kids, right? I said, oh my God, I'm playing this. Or I was back in that garage with my friends. A lot of these people are my friends now, and I've had just to be able to deal with them whenever. To me, it's like a dream. But at the end of the day, the final product is, we're hopefully doing something good and achieving something in the form of entertainment, giving back.
Well, I mean, everything you have done has been a form of giving back, and I think you're continuing to do that going forward. And again, I'm just in awe of who you are and the selflessness that you have. That it's not about you; it's about everybody else, and that's a mentality that is lost a lot today. A lot of people have that mentality. It's all about what can you do for me? What can you do for me? What can you do for me? And to see somebody that just rips off the curtain and says, I don't care about me. I care about you. And that is a rare thing. So again, I commend you, sir.
I thank you so much for the kind words. It just feels, I guess it kind of, it's kind of grown into more like, I'm trying to put the right words to it now as I'm speaking to, not so much an obligation. Okay. But it's almost like my own personal mission statement. Okay. Mm-hmm. Listen, I still got to work. I'm not independently wealthy that I just have money sitting on the sidelines here. I still have to take care of it. My real estate business has been affected adversely with the COVID, like many other poor businesses out there, whatever. And I'm a hard worker. I don't mind working. I feel blessed that I can work. Okay. But I always look at the high road, and I see, even in my approach to problems, I say, no matter what, there's something I have inside. Now, maybe I'm gifted this way. Maybe I got it from my dad, that, the roof could be falling down. Okay. But in the meantime, we're going to figure this out. I have the optimism that I'm going to get it done. I'm going to do whatever it takes. All right. And that kind of stick-to-itiveness is what my philosophy is of all of life. And I have my ups and downs. I'm a human being like anyone else. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the most important thing, that you connect with other people, is that, and it's like what you said, you went through up and downs in your own life. It's that type of vulnerability that makes us human. And that's what makes us alike. Okay. Yeah. We're all mortal. We're all subject to whatever. Okay. And that's what makes, and that's the feel good. That's the connection. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. It's about us. It's not about me. It's not about one person. Okay. It's about together, you know, just fighting the battle, putting your best front on and fighting the battle together. Because that's how we'll get through all of this. By unity and by data, research, and everything. And you see that I see so many great things. People have risen up in these last months for COVID. It's so beautiful things. I say, listen, when you hear the news, a lot of time you hear the negative stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, there's so much positive out there. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of the negative stuff is more newsworthy. It just resonates more out in the public. Okay. But there's a lot of good there too. Okay. Yeah. You know, just a lot of good. You just don't hear it. I mean, on my website, you know, I say the breath of love is spoken in the language of musical expression. Okay. And that's kind of like, you know, kind of my mantra too, because, you know, music is like a form of expression to me. And everything. I mean, when I went to the Grammys last year and I went to an Oscar party, you know, and you see all these, and, you know, you see a lot of these, and that's what I respect about a lot of these artists too. I mean, there's a lot of them that are talented, but many of them, the ones that give back too, I respect that too. That's like almost like a second recognition that I believe they have to be given. A lot of them, they're just good. They just make money, good, and they're successful, and God bless them, right? But you know, there's a lot of many other people that you know. I was reading something like on like Gary Sinise, what he's done and his give back, and there's so many different actors and everything. They have a form of giving back, and I think that's so important.
You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you a little bit of a personal story. So yesterday I talked to Howard, and today I'm talking to you. Two self-made men that, you know, have done so many good things for other people, that, you know, stuck their neck out to, you know, better their life, but also make other people's lives better as well. And you guys are just so motivating and inspirational for me. So long story short, I lost my actual job this past Friday. And unfortunately, I'm on workers' comp, and I can't find another job right now because no one's going to hire a guy on workers' comp. So now I've got to take what I have here. And, you know, granted, I'm already doing some great stuff, and I've already, you know, I'm starting to make a name for myself, and I've got 50,000 a week, you know, but I can still be bigger. I can still continue to grow because 50,000 a week isn't going to pay the bills as far as, you know, listenership. I need to get to that 100,000 mark and up. But, you know, all weekend long, I was like, what am I going to do? You know, how am I going to survive this? What am I going to do? And, you know, then all these things just started to click. And then talking to Howard yesterday and then talking to you today has made me think, you know, it's possible that I don't need to worry about tomorrow because the things I'm doing today are going to protect me. And, you know, it's going to be tough, you know, the next few weeks trying to, you know, build up that platform for myself in order to start bringing in the money that I need in order to survive day to day and not have my wife punch me in the face and say, damn it, Derek, go get a job. But she's supporting that. She's supporting me doing this and saying, you know, fine, you know, fuck it. This is what you need to do. I don't care what you ever have to do. You do it. Spend 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, making posts and doing this and recording extra videos and doing this. This is what you need to do. And speaking to you, like I said, you and him yesterday, and then my wife and all the support that she's been giving me, it's like, I know I can do it. And I just want to say thank you for, you know, without even knowing that story, basically inspiring me to say, I can. And you don't know the impact that you've made on me this evening. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, I'm speechless, and I thank you for even saying that. But you know, I think it's a form of energy. It's a choice of how we're going to utilize energy. You know, I mourned my mom, but I wanted to do something. You know, of course you're going to mourn whatever, but I felt I wanted to do something about it, and this is something I could do. If it's something, if you got to work, or if you're just being inventive or monetize something because you have to work or whatever, it's every door closes, another door opens. Everything's in the opportunity, but it may not look that way. You got to unwrap it, okay? And there's ways of doing it. I have my good friend Frank's daughter, who's like a niece to me. you know, she was in the hospitality industry, and they held on to her as long as they can. Eventually, she just got, you know, laid off too. And she's sending resumes into all these, you know, different hotels and everything. And I said, listen, honey, you know, listen, you do that because that's your experience. But, you know, right now with all the major hotels closing, you still got to realize it's like trying to sell snowballs in the Arctic, right?
Yeah.
So you really got to think out of the box here. And I said, you know, why don't you just think of just creating some type of hospitality experience outdoors, okay, that's COVID friendly, and just create like some type of situation like that so people could come to you and just post some things. They come to you and you could figure it out and do something to make some money that way, you know? And she says, that's not a bad idea. I said, you're just one of many going up the mountain, but reverse it. Have people come to you, because right now, how many people right now want to feel safe and still have, especially the end of the summer, have a vacation with their family or go away? Many people are afraid to get onto an airplane. Many people are afraid, and never mind the travel restrictions. So what a lot of people doing? Road trips.
Yeah.
Camping outdoors. So that's what I told you. Get involved with some type of situations like that and see how you can reinvent yourself. So listen, it was an idea. I think, you know, if you can, there's always ways of being inventive. You just got to think out of the box and just have some people around you to troubleshoot some ideas. And listen, again, there's like, it's going to be tough for a while. And we can't make light of it. Okay. But we have to accept it as part of life and move on and deal with it, because that's truly what the essence is that we're supposed to have. You know, maybe this is some type of challenge. I don't know. But, you know, I have, you know, if you have children, whatever your case may be, or you have your loved one, you have your wife, you've got inspiration. And, you know, the most profound thing that people need to remember is that you need to love and accept yourself. Love and accept, not in a selfish way, but love and accept yourself. And then you can have the most positive, loving relationships with someone else. Forgive yourself for things that you've done in the past, and then relate to somebody else. And that makes a very, very big difference. I have people I know that they're upset with themselves. Or I should have done something different in my life. I should have done this. And I said, let go of that negative energy. Okay. Especially now with what's going on. There's enough out there. There's enough negative energy.
Yep.
We're all role models to each other. Do something, get out of yourself, because you're still internalized. You're inside yourself. Get out of yourself. Do something and you'd be surprised when you do things to help other people. All of a sudden, you start thinking different, and you have that optimism. You know, people staying home and saying, "Well, you're staying home. Make sure you still exercise, as if you're still going to work. This time, exercise. Go for a walk. Still do those healthy things, even though you're staying home. And you know, you just got to, because you got to, body in motion stays in motion." What I'm saying is, I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's common sense, but it is. But anyway, so November 24th, I think, is the date we're shooting for this show. We have 2 days before Thanksgiving. I think it's the 24th, and hopefully, you know, if we don't have a major second wave of COVID, otherwise we'd have to push it back. And I'll be announcing some A-listers there. If anybody's interested, SohoJohnny.com, SohoJohnny.com for our mailing list. Soho Johnny LLC on Facebook, and Soho Johnny on Instagram and YouTube. We got a lot of fun things we posted on YouTube. I'm not a tech guy, but I've got people helping me with all these things. And you have to be in social media today, right? So. Mm-hmm.
But, that's my job now, is all social media. So I have to be, you know, good at it. So I'm still learning different things every day. So, like I said, hey, you know, if this thing goes off in November and you need an extra comedian, let me know. I'll be there in a heartbeat. I will be more than happy to help, you know, with the American Cancer Society.
I would love to have you. We were going to do something else in maybe September, a smaller show in the 10th. I know in Connecticut, you're allowed to have up to 100 people right now. Mm-hmm. This is a gigantic tent, and you can socially distance, you know, several hundred people. But that's, you know, for some strange reason, I always seem to do things in the last minute, Charlie. Then I stress out because, I got to get everything in place here. But then again, I say, well, the summer's going. It's a short summer up here in the Northeast, right? So we want to squeeze something in before it goes, especially if you're in the tent, because it's going to get cold the rest of the year, right? Because I was always like a summer boy. So there's a possibility something else might happen there too. So we'll be posting it on Soho Johnny. We'll be out there. And again, I got to tell you, Derek, thank you for everything that you're doing. I mean, it's so important. You're a voice out there. A lot of people watching your show, and just you're making a positive impact. These are the times it counts the most. I really believe that. You know, and we're making history now, just living through these times. Okay. Yep. It's almost like, you know, the 1800s and other historic occasions. I mean, the last pandemic was 100 years ago. That I think they call it the Spanish flu, 1918. You know, it took 4 years for people to start to feel comfortable after that. Of course, we didn't have technology. You couldn't speak to someone across the world in a minute or send an email, right? I think the numbers were at least 50 million people died back then. Thank God we have the state of technology now. But even still, a pandemic until you have a cure is a pandemic.
Yep.
So, you know, be safe, be wise, deal with the facts, everybody. You know, double check your sources of information all the time. And remember, you know, protect someone else, you know, wearing a mask. Listen, if I was thinking about, like, when I do my own shows, and I'll make you laugh now, you know, I was thinking of saying, listen, I'll show up. I don't care. I'll show up looking like a Martian with a helmet or a spaceman. You know? And they say, well, listen, come on, you got to be reasonable. You know, look funny. I said, it doesn't matter to me what people, and not in a bad way, what people think about me. If anything, it's kind of showmanship. It doesn't matter, because if everybody could do it, could be a COVID costume party. Everyone's safe, right? Everyone's wearing something, and you're dressing up. So you're making it fun. It's a form of entertainment, and people feel safe. Again, bring things together for a positive outcome. Yep. It's just being inventive. That's just, you know.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. So, you know, Halloween should be fun this year. Johnny, you know, again, you have been an inspiration to me this past hour. And your friend Howard has as well. And you have given me a lot to look up to. And a lot of other people, you know, my audience that will listen to this, you know, the 10,000 people, I'm sure will take this and go, wow, you know. So again, I commend you.
Oh, thank you. And Howard is a powerhouse. He's a beautiful man, Howard. And you got my buddy Scott Page tomorrow. Give him a shout out. Tell him the Lemonade guy says hello, and Sherry at the end of the week here, and just say hello to everybody for me.
Absolutely, I will.
And we'll keep the flame going. You know,
I absolutely will, and I appreciate you again.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you again for having me.
Hey, it was absolutely my pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
And I love Captain America and Spidey right behind you, and that Marvel, man. As soon as I saw that when we first spoke, my God, you just hit me right here in the heart.
Yep, you know, when I was setting up my studio, I was like, you know, I got a display of who I am. And because, you know, this is seen, you know, worldwide. It's like, okay, so who am I? Well, I'm the big nerd. So I'm going to tell you that.
So am I.
That's awesome, man. Again, I can't thank you enough. I appreciate you.
Thank you, my friend.
No
God
problem.
bless everybody. Every day's a blessing and a gift.
Absolutely it is. And I appreciate you again. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Derek. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Whew. What a good guy. That definitely inspired me just now. And I hope that you take at least parts of that and, you know, use that in your own life, because that is a smart, you know, giving man. And if you can't figure out, you know, what's good and what's bad in your life after listening to that, then you need to seek deeper. But damn, this guy, that I have been, you know, gifted the last 2 days, and I'm so glad about that. So, you know, thank you very much again, Johnny. And, you know, you're just an amazing man. All right. So, like I said earlier, we're going to talk about the untimely death of you know, former Mythbuster Grant Imahara when we come back, and then we're also going to dive into why I'm pissed off at Marvel, even though I'm a huge Marvel fanatic, and then we're going to talk and I'll give you my review on the newest Hulu movie, Palm Springs with Andy Samberg. So I'm going to go ahead and run a few commercials, and I'll be right back. Guys, I'm here to tell you all about the brand new revolutionary product from Manscaping today, the Lawnmower 3.0, a product that will not nick your sack and make sure that your manhood stays protected the entire time you are shaving. So do yourself a favor and go to manscaped.com and use promo code ShutUpCameron for 20% off the Perfect Package 3.0, which not only includes the Lawnmower 3.0, but it also includes ball toner, which helps prevent ingrown hairs. You get ball deodorant, which helps prevent chafing and man stank. You also get this awesome, sleek, stylish leather carrying case, all for $99.99. And when you use that promo code, you get 20% off. Also, just released the Weed Whacker, the perfect nose and ear hair trimmer. So again, go to manscaped.com, use promo code ShutUpCameron for 20% off. Trust me, your balls will thank you. Guys, ever wonder how I get this manly beard looking so good? It's all because of Viking Revolution. And at Viking Revolution, not only can you get some great beard balms, but you can also get some great beard oils, as well as some awesome quick shower pads, which helps prevent you stanking up after the gym. Also, these great wet wipes, which help prevent, stanky after going doo-doo. And also some pomades and some other great products, all at Viking Revolution. So do yourself a favor, go to dcproductions.com/sponsors, click on the banner, and get yourself some of these great products. Viking Revolution. Join the revolution. And we're back. All right. So, first on with some sad news to report, and then we'll get into some happy news. For those of you guys that were Mythbusters fan for nearly 20 years, Christina, Mythbusters 1, what's on for 20 years? 15 years? It was a long time, wasn't it?
You gotta give me more.
Yeah, it was a while. Grant Imahara, who came on, I think it was season 2 or 3, passed away yesterday of a sudden brain aneurysm overnight. He was 47 years old. That is a 15 years. So, yeah, so it was close. But that's just sad because that was one of my favorite shows. Just to watch, Mythbusters and see all that good stuff, and to hear about his passing was very, very sad. I heard about that this morning about 2 a.m. Yeah, that's the second one on the show to pass. The other one was Jesse, right? Yeah, so Jesse passed a year or two ago. She was the intern that replaced Carrie when Carrie went on maternity leave. So now we've lost 2 from Mythbusters. So my heart goes out to Grant Imahara and his family. He's not too much older than I am, and to think of something like that could happen in your sleep is just a sad, sad thing. But so on to why I'm pissed off at Marvel. All right. So I started watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and everyone knows that if you're a Marvel fan, part of the MCU, whatever the case might be, you know that right now, and has been for a while, that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has not followed the MCU storyline, which is fine. It's its own separate thing. It's its own separate, entity. However, what they're doing now is irritating the absolute crap out of me. Now, I'm just talking about strictly on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So here's what they're doing. So if you haven't watched the show in a while, or if you haven't cared to pick up watch the final season, they're doing a time thing. So they're going back in time in order to do certain things. Well, one of the things that they're doing is they're going back in time to prevent this alien race from killing somebody to change, and then by them killing that person in the past, it's going to change the future. Now, I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for you. They're going back in time to prevent an alien race that's going back in time as well from killing somebody. Therefore, they don't change the future. Didn't we learn about a year and a half ago that that's not how time travel works, according to the MCU? Didn't we learn that last year? That the past that you're now traveling to is now your future. So you can't change your past by changing your future. Didn't we learn that? Isn't that what Professor Hulk said last year? Or did we seem to fucking forget that? So now, but then it goes even further that they're back there and they're staring at the leader of Hydra, and what he was going to become and so on and so forth. And they're like, oh, we can't kill him because we need Hydra in the future. If you killed him, it's not going to affect it because the stuff that Hydra already did already happened because the past that you left in the 2010s still exists. And you go back in time and change that, it's not going to change what happens in your now non-existent past. It just, that boggles my mind. Did they I know that Marvel TV was separate for a while, but now they're all under the one, umbrella that is Kevin Feige. Jeff Loeb is not, handling that anymore. He's still part of the creative process, but he's not the TV director now. It's all under one banner headed up by Kevin Feige. So I think this was all done prior to that because it was obviously done prior to COVID being, but the thing is, didn't they sit down and look at it and go, no? I'm fully aware that they're not part of the MCU anymore. I'm fully aware that they're probably on an alternate timeline now. They're probably on an alternate Earth. I'm fully aware of that. That's possible. But are they now on a separate timeline so where the things that we learned in other movies just don't apply to them? Is that what we're doing now? Is that the idea that pisses me off? Kevin Feige fucking retcon this. This is bad. The more and more I watch it, the more and more upset I'm getting. I just finished episode 4 because I watched the first 3 episodes one day and then I've kind of haven't watched it in a while because I was so upset. And then I turned it back on today and I'm like, it's absolutely mind-boggling. It really is. I can't even fathom the logic behind it. We learned so much from Endgame. We learned that movie is, in my opinion, the greatest movie of all time. Endgame was, like I said, I've said this many times on the show, and I said it, we talked about it on Friday during the podcast Super Show. It's, again, that great of a movie. And for them to do that, what they're doing right now this summer with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing detriment to what they had and what they built over the last 11 years, and 23 movies and et cetera, et cetera. I hope that they do something about this, or I hope that this is just a one and done and they're never going to acknowledge it again. Whatever the case might be, it's very, very frustrating. And know that if you are a casual Marvel fan that's watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and seen every movie, whatever the case might be, and don't know the history of everything, know that what's going on right now never happened in any comic book. And I don't even know where they're going with this. So know that it doesn't apply, and it's completely just, don't even call it Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just call it that TV show on ABC because I'm pissed off at it. Don't even acknowledge that it's a Marvel TV show anymore. But yeah, so there's that. All right. So now that I'm done with that little rant, I could go on that even longer, but not everybody on my show is a comic book nerd like I am. So, I could have just lost, a bunch of viewers and listeners just because of that little 5-minute rant. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. So over the weekend, I believe it was Saturday morning, I'm sitting there playing through Spotify, listening to some of these bands that I got coming up on the summer concert series tour. And I don't pay for Spotify. I pay for Amazon Music, but a lot of people do have their music on Spotify. So I'm having to listen to ads. And one of the ads that I saw was for Hulu's new movie starring Andy Samberg called Palm Springs. And it is a modern day telling of Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. So let me go ahead and give you a little synopsis of this. Andy Samberg is somehow trapped in a loop of time. And there's a reason why, and I'm not going to go ahead and tell you why. However, this time loop is susceptible to other people as well. So this other person that comes into his life somehow gets trapped as well. And now they have to live their life together throughout this whole thing. And it is a love story. It's a comedy. It's a whole bunch of stuff. And I believe it's got 100%. I haven't looked it up, but according to what I'm seeing online, I haven't looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's got 100% Rotten Tomato score, which is pretty freaking awesome. So, I think I thought it was a great movie. I thought it really kind of stuck out above the pack and all the stuff that's been constantly rehashed and stuff like that. But they took something that has been done before. Yes, the Groundhog Day thing, where somebody wakes up in the exact same day, the exact same hour, every minute is the same thing all the time. And it's about you making those decisions to make that day better in order to escape that trap. And that's what they have to do. But at the same time, they have to work together to escape it. And they have to go about it a completely different way than Bill Murray did. So I'm not going to ruin it because it's still a brand new movie on Hulu. But it's an awesome, awesome movie that I highly, 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 highly recommend. So yeah. So definitely take a second. It's only like an hour and a half movie. It's not a super long movie, but it's a great movie. And I definitely recommend it. And, I commend Andy Samberg. He did a great acting job. The woman that plays his love interest in this movie played the mother on How I Met Your Mother. Kristen Milotti. She is an amazing actress as well, and she does a great job in this movie. So definitely check it out. It's called Palm Springs, available on Hulu right now. All right, and then lastly, if you listen to yesterday's show and if you listen to Friday's show, you'll notice that at the beginning of my show, the intro, the music has changed. Well, there's a reason behind that. So the reason behind that is this. So when I got the idea to do the summer concert series, again, it was about bringing a bunch of unsigned acts and giving them an opportunity to play in front of a nationwide audience and actually have an opportunity to show off who they are and hopefully be able to make a name for themselves. Well, there was one band that stood out, above all else, but not because of their sound or anything else like that. No, all these bands are equally awesome. I mean, the 20 bands that I have, hooked up for you guys are all equally awesome. So this band is not better than anybody else. So I don't want you to think that at all. But the song that they submitted to me to listen to spoke volumes about the stuff that I was going through, because this all happened Friday. So I heard this song and I was like, oh my God, I've got to get this band. So as soon as I heard that song, I immediately reached back out to him and I said, yeah, you guys are in, pick a date. And then I immediately asked, hey, this song that you gave to me to listen to, can I have it? Can I use it for the show? Can I give you guys promotion and stuff like that? And they're like, absolutely. So the name of the band is Flying Jacob. They are out of Maryland, and they are phenomenal. The name of the song that I've been using is called To Our Corporate Fathers. And I'm going to go ahead and play the whole song for you right now. But they are just phenomenal, and they deserve a bunch of credit. And I'm going to try my hardest to do some justice to them right now, because they are an amazing band and they deserve to have a little bit of credit. So without further ado, here is Flying Jacob, To Our Corporate Fathers, the full song, not just what I play on my intro, the full song right now.
There's a system in place to keep us in chains. By a show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same 1%? Trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough. No! Day after day, we're working it all away. They keep poking the bear, and they're bound to get made. So I'll raise my glass for the hard-working class. Keep your fires burning hot, and we can't be silenced. Overworked, sleep deprived, left with nothing for myself. If you're gonna take it all out of our hands, you could at least cover mental health. I can't even think, I'm so drained. Are you surprised we're pushing back? Are you listening? I know you hear us, your foundation's about to crack. Come on! Day after day, but working it all away. They keep poking the bear, and about to get made. So I'll raise my glass for the hard-working class. Keep the fires burning hot, and we can't be silenced. So let me get this straight. You can't afford to pay me a livable wage. A multi-billion-dollar corporation hitting higher profit margins every day. I'm full-time, but I need 2 jobs, 70 hours a week on my feet. I'm not built for this. But then again, I don't think any human is. But I still dare to dream about the day that I can get up on stage and talk about these things. Because maybe then my words will hold some weight. I can spare somebody the pain. God, I'm exhausted. I feel it in every bone, every pore in my heart and in my soul. And while you're profiting off our broken backs, we're getting angry with this world. Call for revolution, desperate for change, for relief from this age. So just know that we're coming for y'all. And enjoy it while you can. So won't stop until you see the end. Day after day, we're just working it all away. They keep poking the bear, and they're bound to get made. So I'll raise my glass for the hard-working class. Keep your fires burning hot, and we'll never be silenced.
Oh, shit. I forgot to turn my mic back on. Damn. Flying Jacob, one of the acts that will be performing live here on Suck It Podcast Summer Concert Series here in the next couple weeks. I'm going to go ahead and read off some of the bands that I've got coming to you guys. I mean, it's pretty freaking awesome. So some of these bands you're going to hear of, you've heard of. Some of these bands you've probably never heard of, because again, some of these are the majority of them are local unsigned acts. I got some bands out of Maryland, got some bands out of Pennsylvania, out of Virginia, out of Orlando. I got a bunch of different bands, and I'm really, really proud to bring them to you guys. So not everybody has been given a date yet, but here's a couple ideas of some of the stuff coming up. So on July 29th, we've got Kings of the Wild Things. July 30th, we've got Impulses. August 13th, we've got Words for Hands. August 19th, we've got Eben Nova. August 20th, we've got Once Revealed. August 26th, we've got Pillbox. August 27th, we have The Floglings. Yes, right, The Floglings, yeah. But there's still a bunch of other bands that have not picked dates yet. So that's just a handful of the bands that we have coming on. And remember, it all starts this coming Thursday with Hook Like Helen. Then Monday, is it Monday? Monday or Tuesday, the band Rocky Kramer will be on to perform as well. And then Wednesday or Thursday of next week, I got to look again, is a band called Revolution. And again, it is going to be so fucking huge. I am so stoked. So over the next couple days here, I'm going to go ahead and start introducing to you guys some of these bands that are coming on. And kind of, start, really kind of, getting you heads out there so you guys can say, oh, yeah, I definitely want to be there for that show. Or hell, just say fuck it and just be a part of every show. All I know is that I'm bringing you live music because you can't go visit them. They're going to be playing full sets, full gear, live stage shows for you at home. No cost. Just come to this Twitch channel and you'll be able to watch it live. These guys are going out on a limb to, bring you guys music that you've never heard before. Some of these, again, now I'm going to have booked some other national acts and stuff like that as well involved in this. So, but these independent, unsigned bands that haven't been able to play for months are so excited to bring their talent to you guys. And the messages that I've been getting back from them is so appreciative. There's a band that I talked to yesterday out of Orlando that I'm really stoked about. The lead singer, her name is Lizzie, has a voice that's very reminiscent of the lead singer of Paramore, Hayley Williams. So, I have found some real powerhouses, and I cannot wait to bring them to you guys. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and bid you guys adieu. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come spend an hour and a half with me. Tomorrow, I'm bringing you, we talked about him a little bit here tonight, one of the original members of Pink Floyd, Scott Page, will be on. Another philanthropist and musician, fantastic saxophonist. Kind of a good lead in to Hook Like Helen on Thursday. Guys, we got so much good shit for you. And I'm going to go ahead and say one more thing here before I sign off. If you're listening to this on the podcast or you're watching this later tomorrow night on YouTube or whatever the case might be, this doesn't really apply to people who are watching this on Twitch right now, but it applies to everybody else. Twitch is not for gaming anymore. Yes, that is the thing that brought him to the party. That is the thing that brought him to the game, so to speak. But now there's so much other good shit on here. There's bands that come on here just to perform live and take requests and do this and then interact with their fans, have like a interactive concert all the time. There's musicians that are just trying to make a name for themselves playing piano, whatever the case might be. There's other people that do what I do on Twitch. Twitch is not just for gaming anymore. So if you're at home or on your car ride to work or your car ride home from work and you're listening to this, go to twitch.tv, and sign up. It's free, 100% free. Okay. The only time you ever have to pay for anything is if you wish to subscribe to a channel. And all a subscription does is unlock a few other certain things for that specific channel, but it helps out the streamer. It helps out that content creator. 50% of that subscription goes straight to them. The other half goes to Amazon. Amazon is what owns Twitch. So that's another thing too. With your Amazon Prime membership, you get free subscriptions that you get. Basically, it's a donation. You get it for free. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to pay anything out of pocket. You get it every month for free, and you can give it to anybody you want. Somebody that you really like. I prefer you give it to me, but hey, you know, that's just me. But either way, Twitch is not just for gamers anymore. Go on there. You can watch TV shows. There's actually a channel on Twitch where they do it's an acting channel. They basically they have a bunch of different people on screen and they all act and tell a story, and it's very interesting how they do it. But there's so much good stuff. Yes, you're going to see a lot of gaming because that's what brought Twitch to the ball game. But there's so much other stuff, including what I do on a daily basis, and so many other great content creators that deserve the recognition and just aren't getting it because people say, oh, Twitch is just for gaming. It's bigger than that, and it's bigger than you will ever know until you come over and take a look at what we're doing over here. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. I'll be back tomorrow, same Twitch time, same Twitch channel. And if you can't catch me on Twitch, please listen to the podcast. Available everywhere podcasts are found. But until tomorrow at 8 p.m. East, 5 p.m. West with Scott Page, original member of freaking Pink fucking Floyd. I bid you guys adieu. I love and respect every single one of you. Thank you very, very, very much for being here for me and allowing me to be able to tell my story and do my job. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.